President Trump told me the United States sent guns to the Iranian protesters. He tells me we sent them a lot of guns. We sent them through the Kurds, and the president says he thinks the Kurds kept them.
On April 5th, 2026, Trey Yingst conducted a phone interview with Trump. Trey Yingst is Fox News' chief foreign correspondent. During that conversation, Trump told him the US had sent a lot of guns to Iranian protesters earlier in 2026, routed through Kurdish intermediaries, but that he believes the Kurds kept many of the weapons instead of passing them on. Why would Kurdish groups hold on to the weapons instead of passing them along? Strip away the politics, and it comes down to survival, trust, and cold strategy. First, survival comes before everything. Kurdish groups, whether in Iran, Iraq, or Syria, live under constant pressure. The Iranian government has a long record of cracking down hard on Kurdish activists, while Turkey targets Kurdish militants, and the surrounding regions are anything but stable. In that kind of environment, handing weapons to loosely organized city protesters isn't just risky, it can be suicidal. Those protesters might not last long, might not coordinate well, or might even lose the weapons quickly. So if you're a Kurdish faction, you arm your own trained fighters first, the ones who can actually defend territory and survive retaliation. Second, the way weapons move in proxy conflicts is messy by nature. Once arms pass through intermediaries, they rarely arrive exactly as intended. Groups take a share, redirect some for their own needs, or stash supplies for future battles. That's not an exception. It's the rule, seen in places like Syria, Iraq, and Afghanistan. Kurdish forces have worked with outside powers before, including the US against ISIS, and they've learned the hard way that support can disappear overnight when politics shift. So from their perspective, it's smarter to hold on to what they get rather than assume more will come later. Third, their goals don't perfectly align with urban protest movements. Kurdish groups opposing Iran often have their own long-term aims, like autonomy or greater control over Kurdish majority regions. Flooding weapons into big cities like Tehran might create chaos, but it doesn't necessarily advance those goals. In fact, it could backfire by strengthening nationalist backlash against Kurds or triggering even harsher crackdowns in Kurdish areas. Then there's the practical side. Smuggling weapons into tightly controlled cities is incredibly difficult. High risk, high chance of interception. Kurdish groups, on the other hand, already have networks, supply routes, and trained units in place. It's simply more feasible to arm people who are structured and ready than to try to build something from scratch under surveillance. Put it all together, and it's not really surprising. This is how proxy conflicts tend to work. Groups hedge, adapt, and prioritize their own survival over someone else's plan. If weapons were diverted or kept, it's less about betrayal and more about realism. Why gamble everything on unpredictable street uprisings when you can strengthen forces that you know will still be standing tomorrow?